Okay, here's how to add weight to a Yaesu FT101, E101 versions of the VFO knob. And the reason that I do this is because the weight will actually add a much heavier and nicer quality feel when you use the VFO. You can see that Yaesu gave it some weight, but it would have been nice had they come out all the way, but that would be very expensive. So here's what you do. I wanted to do this in a kind of a semi-permanent state, or basically a state that where you, if you wanted, you could dig this out easily. I've heard of people putting soldering globs and epoxy and all kinds of crap and damaging, you know, these things, or you just can't dig it out. It looks like absolute hell. But this is a nice way that you can do this, and if you're a purist, or a purist comes along and gets this radio, he could just use one of these and just pop it out. And these are handy, by the way, to do this job. So let me tell you what we end up using. This is lead shot. It's very small lead shot, just like 2mm beads of lead shot. Don't use split shot. That's got air gaps in it. You want maximum density, and you want it very small where it will get underneath what I'm going to tell you about to protect the set screws. So you do this in 2 layers. This is my test thing for different adhesives. I found out that I've tried everything from super glue to epoxies and it didn't flow right, just didn't work right, too permanent. This is what I ended up with. Good old Elmers Glue All. Really cheap, don't need to dilute it. It flows just nicely if you'll do this in 2 parts, okay? So the one thing you're gonna do, you've got a total of 3 compartments. 2 compartments have the set screw right there and right here. Those have to be protected and kept open when you do this. Well, you can only do 1 at a time, because when you push the set screw in all the way, it'll hit this one. So I started with this set screw. You can see that little void there. And what I used is a piece of heat shrink tubing. Turn the set screw all the way in, then push that heat shrink. Put a little oil on the end of the heat shrink tubing. You want to be able to easily pull this out once the glue is dry. So put a little oil on it and then push that in. That'll go all the way in to about there when the set screw is all the way in. And then you'll put down your first layer halfway up of this lead shot. Okay, and you see this is still actually kind of drying. And you'll lay down a layer of glue over the top of it. 1 layer of glue where you've completely covered the top of it. Not super thick, just where you're barely covering the top of it. That will flow down and basically bind all that lead shot together. It'll take about an hour or so. It won't seem like it's doing it at first, but it will. Okay, and you let that dry for a few hours. You can do these 2 compartments to start with your heat shrink tubing in there, because this one will be backed out. So that one can go all the way in. Okay, then you do your second, after a couple hours, put your second layer of lead shot. You do not want to exceed the top of this ridge here. Second layer, both here, you can push some of those lead shot underneath that heat shrink tubing on the bottom, and you'll put down your next layer of glue. That will then, you'll be equal with the surface up here. As you can see, these 2 compartments are. Okay, now once those are dry or overnight, you can go ahead and pull out that heat shrink tubing. Now you can back out this set screw, push this set screw in all the way, and do your heat shrink tubing to protect that hole access that you're going to have to keep. Push it in all the way in. It'll go in right about to there. So it's going to seal that and give you a void. Now you can start, as you can see we've done here, with our first layer. We're halfway up. I've laid the glue down, and we're going to let that dry for a couple hours. And then we're going to put down our final layer and then put the glue on there, and that will turn out like this, where it'll be nice, and you've added added weight to this knob. It'll give it a better spin, just a higher quality feel to it. Also, make sure you plug that. You don't want to get any of that lead shot down in the shaft hole there, okay? After you've done all that, let this whole thing dry and cure for at least a day, and I would prefer 2 days actually would be what's kind of recommended, because there's quite a bit of glue in there. So give this always 1 day before you pull this out, and then let the whole thing cure, and keep it level. When you do this glue, you want to keep this knob level, otherwise the glue will tilt. Okay, so when you're doing this, make sure it's level, and then after you can pull that out, and you'll have a nice weighted VFO knob that, and you know, if someone doesn't like it, you won't see it, but some people out there, you know, gotta have it 100% original, so you can easily use one of this and you can pop that out. But this is a handy tool to kind of maneuver around the small little lead shot, and that will give you the maximum density. This little bag, that's a pound. I mean, you can just see how it just fits in there. There's some weight there. Okay, I hope that helps. I've got another video on Kenwood 52820 series of doing those knobs as well. So, thanks.